All right, so today our game is so simple, but so rich, like full of awesome stuff, or at least according to me. It is just stare at a fire. And yeah, there's just so much I can say on this. I mean, this is something that humans have been doing since the beginning of time, or since the beginning of humans' time on Earth. And there's something so awesome and enjoyable that just like levels you out when you just watch a fire. Just watch a fire. Set a fire in your fireplace, or, look at the flame of a candle, or you can go outside and make a little campfire. Whatever it is, we actually did a little campfire yesterday night to cook some food over, and staring at that fire is just unparalleled. It sort of puts you in a meditative state, and I consider this a meditation. I absolutely do. I know some people have like very specific definitions of what is meditation and how you do it. I find that funny. Like, if somebody is giving you a full set of detailed instructions on how to do a meditation as though there is a way to do it and a way to do it wrong. I mean, if they're giving you suggestions like, okay, here is how it feels for me, and they're giving you details to kind of explain their experience and to let you know, like, okay, along the way, these are things that you might feel, then cool, fine. But I find it amusing that anybody would think there's like this way, because meditation is simply listening to me. It's this deep state of listening where you smooth out and you're able to really listen and take things in. And I mean, listening from the deepest standpoint, listening to the universe, listening to the everything, listening to the deep part of yourself that's totally unnameable, just like hearing you, hearing everything, hearing the stuff that has no sound. No actual sound, like hearing it at that spiritual kind of like in your heart level. That's meditation. And, that zeroes out those brain waves in such a way. I mean, it doesn't zero them out, but it puts them in the meditative brain waves. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. I mean, you could be moving. There's a lot of repetitive movements, or just movements that you can get into, like Tai Chi, but not just that. I mean, even little things like there's people that do spiral meditations where they just like spin in circles, or other series of movements that they can just like repetitively do, and they blank out their mind. Your mind goes to where there's no thoughts, and you get into that deep state of listening, or doodling. I mean, you already know this because I've already made you play this game, maybe we haven't gotten there yet. But doodling and just, letting your mind go and just being in that moment and just doodling with your hand, giving your hand something to do, so that it helps that process of sending you into a deep state of listening. This is just like that stuff to me, watching a fire. And because it's so ancient and so old, and because our bodies like need fire, and because there's just this like ancient, deep, forever relationship with fire that we've had, I think it makes it all the easier. I mean, it's so pleasurable to just sit and watch the flames of a fire, and all of us sit and marvel at like, oh my God, I love watching fire, or like, why is this so mesmerizing? Why is it such a trance-making state here how does it get me into such a trance state? Why is it such a trance-making activity to just watch smoke like flutter up from the flame of a fire, or watch the sparks or the embers? Like, I feel so entertained. Like, maybe entertained is not the word, but satisfied, like, how am I not bored just watching this flame? Because most of us aren't. I mean, it's really a thing. I've heard so many people marvel at that, and I do too. I do too. It just like makes you feel so sort of satisfied, or just like we're saying, meditative. It absolutely makes me feel so meditative and childlike. That's the other word that we often get, like, from a meditative place. Childlike. I mean, that is when you were a child, was when everything was beautiful to watch and entertaining, and you didn't have all the busy thoughts. So of course you were more in a meditative state all the time. And, you know, you were in that place of deep listening too, because everything was a wonder to just watch, you know, and that's a deep state of listening that is like nutrition for our being. I mean, there's no other way around it. You can feel that it's like, wow, that did something for me. That like filled me up. That energized me, or, you know, and so we don't even need the science studies to show how beneficial meditation is. It feels like you just got a deep zap of like nutrition to your person. Unless you're trying to do the meditations right. I've definitely heard people being like, oh, I hate it because it's like boring and I'm having to sit there. And they're probably thinking of it as like they've got to do it a certain way and it's got to happen like this. And they're doing it wrong, or they're in trouble if they start to think things because their thoughts are supposed to be blank. Like, yeah, man, that makes it boring and it also makes it non-enjoyable. And there's so many other ways to meditate. And so I'm just this like huge advocate of meditation doesn't mean like sitting really still and, you know, sitting in a room by yourself all quiet. And it doesn't necessarily mean that. I mean, you might be moving and you might be just watching a fire. You can get into a meditative state with a lot of different things. And watching fire is one of them. So just sit and watch fire. It's that simple, and then see what happens. And even if nothing happens that you can actually describe with words, because that is the beauty of it. It is like this deep thing that is beyond the place that we use words for, beyond the like understanding. I mean, you can't really say why it was awesome or what actually happened. I mean, you might be like, wow, this like whole thing came to me and I started to like realize or listen to a voice that was within me that was like unsettled about this other thing that was going on. And so now I see that and I'm ready to, you know that about myself and move forward with it. Whatever. Yeah, maybe. But for the most part, most often, it's just wordlessness. Nothing. There is no way to describe it. But you come out feeling like, ooh, that was awesome. I don't know why, but it was awesome. Or that like nourished me, or that was satisfying, or I enjoyed that, or damn, I feel like a kid again, you know, or just whatever. I feel filled up. That was great. I feel so cozy, you know, whatever. And it's like, you don't even need the words. You don't even need to understand why. You just do. It's at that deep, deep level of just getting into a meditation that isn't anything but looking at those embers, at that flame, at those smoke swirls, at that fire. So see how you like it.